Alright, so as far as the boards go, this is apart currently because I was trying to tap in to get the animation to work again. So this is the Mister board that would normally be in the front. It would normally be mounted right there. And then the one behind it right here is the regulator board. And then this is the sound board. This one has a green board on the back, but it's brown on the front. As far as the ground connections go, Lemax, the way that they did it on pretty much all of the old pieces, nowadays their newer ones have plugs for everything and they're just completely different design wise. But I'd say all of the boards up until like at least 2015 and maybe even newer than that, they all follow the same design principle of having a ground rail running around, and then they have a positive strip in the middle. I've seen this on this piece and Madame Ashbury's, the Frankenstein's Laboratory. All of them seem to follow the same design, where if you see a rail going around the outside, that'll be the ground rail, or the negative side. So this is definitely the ground rail since it has the black wires attached. So like right here, you could probably tap in for negative on one of the spots here if you wanted to. So that would be ground. As far as this regulator board, it follows the same design. This is another regulator board out of a different Isle of Doom that I ripped out. Because as I've been updating them, I usually will replace this regulator board. And I'm doing the same thing with this one, as this is the new regulator that doesn't heat up as much. The reason why tapping it to this piece quick could have gotten the lights to work is because it's grounded. So this is attached to ground. But this follows the same design where the outer rail going around the outside that forms like this U shape going around is the ground. And then I'm pretty sure, if I recall, right here, trying to look at it, remember how they, so this point right here in the middle, this little like triangle, is the high 30 volts, because after you rectify the 24 volts AC, it'll jump up usually to about 30 volts because AC is a wave, and so once you get it to be flat as DC, it's actually a higher point because it'll capture the highest point of the wave, whereas the 24 volts AC is sort of a medium because the wave will reach higher and lower than 24, but 24 is sort of the middle. So right here in the middle, in that little triangle point right here, is 30 volts DC contact, I think, positive. This middle rail that comes out, and then there's all these little contacts, is 5 volts. This is ground. This is ground also, this little bit. But definitely I would try and attach to this U formation going around, because that's negative. As far as the points where they would have the lights, I really detest the wiring on this piece because they were super stupid with how they basically attached the lights off of the 30 volts. So you can see that's the 30 volt positive in, and then they basically had these little cheap resistors coming from that 30 volts positive over to this rail and this rail. So they're the ones that are below. So both of these two that are in between, so that's the ground, that's the 5 volts, and then those two in between are the different light contacts. I forget which one is which. If you look at this one here, you can see that there's a white and a yellow wire tacked on to it's the inner one. So the one that's closer to the 5-volt contact, they're tacked onto there. So you might have luck with that, or I don't know. I would try that one, I guess. But I think it's really stupid because with all of the other Limax pieces, they would run the lights off of 5 volts. But essentially what they did with this piece is they ran it off of unregulated 30 volts. And it's just a terrible design. So yeah, this is probably your main problem, is the regulator board. It always is. This is the center of all the Isle of Doom's failures, which is why I rip them out so often. As far as if you wanted to try and tack onto here, the way this one works is the red and black wires that are on the end are the power input. So those are 24 volts AC from the power adapter. So those come straight from the barrel plug and go to these diodes. So these black units are the diodes which rectify it into DC. And you can see their markings there for the 24 volts AC with a little waveform. But that's the AC contacts. So don't attach anything to there. If you attach anything to these points, you'll probably instantly kill it. And then after it comes off of that, it goes to these two different points. So you have this rail that's forming this L sort of shape. And then you have this one here in the middle that just sort of comes straight down. So this is positive 30 volts. So again, don't attach anything to this middle rail. That'll instantly kill stuff. Because the resistors are on this board to regulate the power downward so that it doesn't fry the LEDs. So if there's a positive wire missing for the LEDs, it would be attached here. As far as the negative wire, though, you could attach it onto this L shape. The L shape is the negative again. And this piece, after it comes through the rectifier, so after it comes through those diodes on the other side of this board, it shares a common ground throughout the whole piece. So this rail that's forming this L shape, you would actually get continuity between this and that board in the back. All of them share the same ground. So attaching the black wires to any of those points should work. Just be careful to not attach it onto this middle rail that is the positive. And don't attach it to those ones on the end. Those are deadly for the electronics. So don't touch it onto those. So yeah. The heat sinks on both of these should also be grounded. But yeah, those are the ground points. That was that loop, the loop around that one, and this loop.